Good evening. My name is Terry Ritchie. I'm speaking to you from Perth Andover, New Brunswick, where my father was a fireman and died here when I was 10 years old. But I'm speaking now for my father who died on the cross, who's also reborn there, and for his father also in this case. 2 days ago, it's September the 9th tonight, Friday the 9th. 2 days ago in Fredericton, I signed this. I call it a writ of deposition, but that's just my title for it. These are the words my father dictated to me 25 years ago, this past week, dealing with the death of Princess Diana and those he judges culpable in that they designed, ordered, and in part carried out the attack that led to her death in Paris in 1997, 25 years ago. He gave me 4 tasks to do. The first one I did right away because it had to be done right away. It was an urgent thing. And the other 3 were the following week. When that week ended on the 7th in Fredericton, that's when I signed this decree from my father and his father, deposing Elizabeth as queen. Just in time because she died a few hours later in Scotland, as everyone knows. That's actually a favor to her. It means that my father accepts it, that despite the late hour, that means she paid for her crimes here on earth, and she may rest in peace and know her loved ones as she would not have otherwise. That's one of the reasons I did this, although it's 25 years late and it's cost me the love of my life, and other people it's cost them their lives. It's not something we joke around with. I've signed the whole thing because it's dictated. These are not my words, these are my father's. Where I've added my own words, I've had to take them out. But the video that accompanied this was recorded on September 3rd and only covered the first part of this, part of the deposition of Elizabeth. And the rest of it I now have to do before it gets too late again. As I say, these are all 25 years too late. I'm not normally allowed to read this, but since I stopped in the middle, I'll have to. This time I'm going to tell myself. It ends in the second page. Thou art deposed, no man may raise an arm or an army to defend thee. Thou art deposed. Be you on your very deathbed, which she was, you are deposed. Also, for his role in the same and associated crimes, we strip Edward, styled Edward of Wessex, of his title, the one who awarded it, knowing full well it was an offense to us and a slander against that good name. Edward of Wessex, I have to insert this, was my father's second brother here. He died around 979 in the south of England, murdered by his stepmother's liegemen. I think it's called Corfe on the coast. Her name is Elfrida. Edward of Wessex was. Then 1,000 years later, there was another brother that came after this. After the death of his death came after Princess Diana's. Also, for his role in the same associated crimes, we strip Edward, style of Wessex, of his title, the one awarded it, knowing full well what it meant. We further annul and dissolve his marriage to Sophie Rees-Jones, and without passing judgment in any way on the individual children involved, we deny their issue until the end of time. You don't have to know what that means. They'll know what that means. I know what that means. Similarly, for his repeated and unprovoked infidelities and betrayals of the queen we had for you, in such a way as to bring about her untimely, unlawful, and violent death, together with the grossest violations of the covenant between us, at the same time and place, we further decree that Prince Charles may never rule or govern in our name, and we remove him entirely from the line of succession. I think in England he's probably already done that now, but he does not rule, he does not govern, he is not king in our name. This is my father's dictation from 25 years ago. William is your king now. Only William may rule in our name, and no one may govern or rule in our name except he name them. His is our only throne on earth. All the others are footstools in comparison. That includes the throne at Rome. This is something I reworded from something my father said, but these are my words almost verbatim from him. The British Isles are very important to us. It is here that my father walked and Edward of Wessex ruled, where Winston and Diana were raised, and which they loved and fought for, each in their own way. Should the British people, or Britain as a whole, choose not to comply in every wise with this, our command and decree, then we can and we do promise that when we are through, there will still be at least as many islands in the sea as there are now. But the seas shall be greater. Seas will be greater. Then I signed that 3 p.m. September 7th in Fredericton, if it matters. That's normally all we have to do. It doesn't matter how many people watch this. I know 3 people who watch me, if you want to call them people. My father, his father, and an obvious third person won't name, and that's a third person who held me back for a while because there was a member of the royal family in the car traveling next to us in that tunnel, and sitting in the back seat. I saw who it was. Diana made me erase it. I didn't even know you could do that, and not name that person. My father, I think, he has named them. He has 2 other jobs regarding this for me to do, and the second one could easily get me killed because I can give you the face of the man who got into the car with Anna and killed her. He came with the French gendarme. I don't know if I never saw his uniform. I just saw his face. He straddled her legs and made her open her eyes, and then he wanted her to see how little he cared for her. It was like looking at the face of a square-faced snake. That's what he looked like. Just cold, black button eyes. And then he struck her. It was like somebody reaching right into your flesh, to your heart. It was that violent, and she could not have survived that. She could have survived the other injuries. She could not survive, and she did not survive that one. I can show you his face. Even if I knew his name, I wouldn't tell you. That's up to you to deal with him. The third task third task he gave me, I absolutely don't want to do. I can't refuse. Only my father can tell me not to. He was very, very angry at the time. In fact, he ended his address. It was not a message. It was a speech I'm supposed to have given to you in September 25 years ago. The speech ends. At the end of his speech, he said, "You have never seen fury before. You will see fury now." He is not in a good mood. If he insists, I'll have to give that no matter what, but I can't ask you to pray for me. I've said this before, because all the prayers for me will go through him. I'm his son. But I can't ask you to pray for him, because he has a father too, and pray that he has change of heart. Because that speech sounds to me like a valedictory address. And I'd rather you have one more chance to not live up to it. That's not up to me. That's entirely up to him. I have to do these things before the end of the month. It's going to seem like a very long month in some ways, but it's taken me 25 years to get here. I never wanted to do this. I was not supposed to have to do this. But everyone else has been killed, or they are no longer of the earth. And that is something that those of us who love you very much wish with all our hearts you did not understand right away, but you will have to understand it all too soon. Everyone's been killed except, or they are no longer of the earth. That's part of a disclaimer I'm supposed to insert every now and then if I get to speak to you too many times or go off script, which I guess I've just done. I pray that God will be with you and guide you in these things as in all other things. But he otherwise will not intervene. This is his work of him and my Father through this decree. He will not otherwise intervene because this is my Father's world. My Father inherited it the exact opposite of the way you inherit things. He inherited it with his own death. Some inheritance, if you ask me. Sorry. God bless. And take care. God save the King, meaning King William.